Good morning. Today is section 42, verses 70 through 93. And the main content of these verses is just, what is it called? Not Bishop's Council, it's, I don't know, where somebody does wrong and they go before, like, the council. I don't know the name of it. But anyways, that's basically what it's setting up. You know, it's not supposed to be like somebody does something wrong and they go before the whole church and they judge him. No, it's supposed to be between the person and the elders. So that's basically the main content of it. Alright, so there's only a few things here in Ludlow. In verse 74, it says fornication, talks about fornication, and it explains here that this term is sometimes used for all kinds of sexual sins, and also figuratively for idolatry, which I thought was interesting. But generally it stands for the sin of impurity when committed between unmarried persons. And then in verse 78, it's talking about keeping all the commandments. And Hiram M. Smith, I don't think that's Hiram Smith, because this was given in 1917, obviously not him. But Hiram M. Smith says, "No man can find forgiveness for one sin because he is righteous in some other direction. In other words, the paying of tithing will never compensate for the desecration of the Sabbath day. The faithful keeping of the Sabbath day will never make amends for the breaking of the word of wisdom. The refraining from murder and adultery will not satisfy the law which forbids bearing false witness against neighbors or coveting their possessions. And the doing of good to men will never blot out the sin of blaspheming the name of the living God. We must keep the commandments, all of them, every one of them, every day of our lives, and then we will prove ourselves wise and of understanding hearts." And I don't know, it's just, I have no thoughts on that one, but I thought I should read it. Alright, and then verse 84 to 92, it talks about if he or she shall commit a sin. It says it so many times. And while reading it, I was like, why doesn't he just say he, and then that just blankets he and she? We know that he also means he and she. But it says here, note the perfect equality and responsibility of the sexes in the law of God. If he or she is guilty, the consequences are the same. There is no sex in crime. Equal rights, to use a familiar expression, presupposes equality in responsibility. Our standard requires a young man to be as clean as as chaste and as pure as the girl he asked to be his wife, the mother of his children. We have no double standard. We expect our boys to be as good as our girls and as clean. And, me, myself, in reading it, going, ugh, it's so repetitive. Why can't we just blanket everything under man? Because, you can. But then you have the issues of today where everything needs to be sectioned out. Black, white, male, female, Z. It says here, everything's equal. It makes it perfectly clear to the boys and the girls that he or she has to obey the law. So, that's basically it. 42 verses 70 through 93. And tomorrow we break up 43. All right.